Hi, Mark here. Monday, December the 29th, 9:16 a.m. Eastern, 2:16 p.m. GMT. US session now underway. Let's have a look at the US dollar's performance. Small green candlestick, that's US dollar strength, was a full green candlestick, certainly through the Asian and European session. US dollar got off to a strong start. I've got intraday resistance at 97.86 and I've got support at 97.60. But you can see there has been a turnaround from strong US dollar to weak US dollar, or at least US dollar giving up a lot of those gains, and that's the wick we see left behind here after testing this descending trend line and the resistance. If I zoom in on the hourly, there you see the turnaround from strong US dollar, weak US dollar giving up those gains, sitting now at 97.73. Sellers of US will look down at the support level at the 97.60. Continuation of dollar strength will be looking up at the resistance at 97.86. Let's have a look at the majors, the Euro US. Sitting right now as a doji candlestick, which shows indecision. Buyers have tried higher, sellers have tried lower, and pretty much back where it started the day. Was a red candlestick that's selling euro, buying US dollar strength, like we saw on the index. The wick left behind here, that would be buying euro, selling US dollar giving up some of those gains. If I zoom in on the hourly, there you can see the fight back by the euro and US dollar giving up gains. Buyers of euro, sellers of US will be looking up at the 117.90 resistance area on the way to the 118. Sellers of euro, buyers of US, the way we saw today's trading start, sellers will be looking down at the 117.53 level. Let's have a look at the pound against the US again and see if we saw if it's US dollar strength to start. Yes, you can see there's a red candlestick, was all the way down here in a solid red candlestick that's selling pound, buying US dollar strength. Wick left behind, bounce up off the support. That'll be buying pound, selling US from strong US to weak US, like we saw on the index and on the euro at this point. If I zoom in on the hourly, there you can see sitting in the middle of the range for now. It started with selling pound, buying US, strong US dollar. Here's the fight back by the pound, US dollar giving up weakness. The buyers of pound, sellers of US will be looking up at the resistance level at the 135.11, 135.33. Sellers of pound, buyers of US will look down at the support at the 134.71. Let's have a look at the US against the yen. Different picture here. We don't see the US dollar strength to start like we saw in the index on the European currencies. Red candlestick that's selling US, buying yen. I've got resistance at 156.51. I've got support at 156.03. Sellers of US, buyers of yen will look to retest this support level to come lower. Buyers of US, sellers of yen would look up the resistance at 156.51. And then we've got the US against the Canadian. Also started strong US dollar. You can see that the green candlestick. I've got support at 136.58. I've got resistance at 137.01. This resistance has been tried, tested the last 3 days unsuccessfully. Sellers have stepped in at this resistance level. Same thing today. This wick it's left behind here from strong US dollar would be selling US and buying Canadian. Let's zoom in on the hourly. There you see the fight back by the Canadian after resistance up at 137. It's now selling US, buying Canadian. We'll see whether that can continue. And sellers will be looking down at the 136.57 support level. So we have our resistance support levels to work with, all being tested this morning. Started off strong US dollar. We saw that against the on the index, we saw it against the euro and the pound. We're seeing it against the Canadian. US giving up some of those gains from strong US to weak US. We're seeing the euro fight back. We're seeing the pound fight back and the Canadian against the yen. It's been weak US dollar and strong yen. We'll see whether that can be maintained. Good trading, and I'll see you at end of day session.